After Sly 2 was a hit, they wanted to go out with a bang. This is interesting because this game got lower scores from reviewers than the previous two games did. And from what I can get, fans will usually say that Sly 2 and even Sly 1 are better. But honestly, I feel like this game is at the peak of the trilogy. So let's get into why I think that. The game starts with Sly sneaking onto some kind of island. This is where we find out that Sly and the gang has way more people than just Bentley and Murray. We then find this guy who really kills one of his henchmen. After a bit of platforming, we find the Cooper vault. But the same guy who killed his henchman is chasing after us. So we try to make an escape, but this monster that the guy made grabs Bentley. Sly then forces Kane to let Bentley get away, and right as Sly is about to get in, oh. I mean, it's a little anticlimactic to have Sly almost die, and then we just get repeat information. But hey, since the game brings this up, the Sly series got comic books. One between Sly 1 and 2, and one between Sly 2 and 3. The first one was fun to read. It gives insight into the gang's time in the orphanage, and the first time Sly and Carmelita met. It is also the only Sly media that has a curse word in it, at least to my knowledge. The next and last issue starts off with Sly breaking into jail, and they such that the first few members of the Phoenix Five are here. Sly meets a guy called McSweeney who worked with Sly's dad. It was basically that team's Murray. McSweeney, after listening, is talking to his friend's son, tells Sly about the Cooper vault. Later that night, Sly and Murray break into the hospital that Bentley is in. The police then come to apprehend them. Murray, being the champ that he is, fights all of them while Sly gets away with Bentley. We then cut to Carmelita seeing footage of Sly and Murray on a heist, mentioning how clumsy they've been. Then at her apartment, Sly gives her a calling card and says that they'll see each other soon. Carmelita then decides enough is enough and tries to get an elite team to track down Sly. We then cut to what seems to be the Sly Gang's home base, as Murray is filled with guilt for not being able to save Bentley. He then leaves the team. So yeah, pretty relevant stuff. Other franchises that just expect to read other material. The game actually does tell you about Sly talking to McSweeney and Murray leaving the team, which is the most important part. So I guess it's about time we stop talking about the comics and finally get on to chapter. Whoa, wait, Azure. So this is a tutorial chapter. Pretty odd we have one now, considering Sly 1 and Sly 2 did a good job at teaching how to play the game. But after these first two missions, it's completely optional, so I can't complain about it too much. Don Octavio was an opera singer who was well liked. Just as his career was going to take off, more modern genres like rock were more favored. He was taken in by fans who were in the Mafia. He rose to the rank of Don, which translates to boss. Oh, and Murray's here. Honestly, this chapter is in competition with a Black Kaiju for being my favorite chapter in the series so far. Like the Black Kaiju, the map design is brilliant, as it's easy to tell where you are with it having visual landmarks, like the Octavio sign next to the police station, giant statue next to the Octavio sign and the police station, or the giant mansion Octavio lives in. I mean, I guess one nitpick is that Octavio isn't as interesting as Dimitri, but Dimitri's in this chapter too, so it's a-okay to me. The chapter also has some fun missions, like this mission was Sly as disguised as the guards. And the second guard says this.
Yep. Am I glad you're here. Mama's making spaghetti tonight and I'm starving. I'm gonna eat like 4 plates of food.
I guess that you really like her cooking.
Mamma mia, I want to be buried in her sauce. It's heaven.
Any problems with that guy?
Said he wanted to be buried in his mom's pasta sauce.
Yeah. That's strange.
Then when Sly was Bentley in, they continue that conversation.
You know, I just can't get it out of my head. Have you ever had pasta sauce that tasty? I don't want to distract you or anything, but I just don't think I've ever had cooking that good. Are we like missing out on a whole universe of flavors here?
You know, maybe there's a good Italian restaurant around here.
Enough with the sauce! Keep your focus, we're on a job here! Thugs everywhere! Death around every corner!
And seeing Murray join the team again was awesome, considering now he has to confront the thing that made him leave the team in the first place. About like a couple seconds ago I said that Octavia wasn't as entertaining as Dimitri, but that doesn't mean he isn't entertaining, as he sings almost every single sentence. He's even trying to be a friend in his own right as he dumps Tony around killing a bunch of fish. Which, I'm not gonna lie, is pretty funny like 3 minutes later because of that.
Look away if you must. You're about to witness the dark side of electrical engineering. Kill a bunch of poor innocent fish, will he? That'll do it.
And right before his boss, he blows up a building, which is not funny. You even get the players come and live for the first time. Just a really good chapter, and it's really disappointing what follows it. So from what I've heard, people can agree that Rumble Down Under is the worst chapter in Slight 3. And maybe even the entire series. Now I think out of the trilogy is a little bit much in my opinion. Considering I think Slight 2's Chapter 3 has a worse map and 8 has a worse story. But that doesn't make this message chapter any better. So Murray is hanging out with Sly and Bentley when he starts to feel bad that he abandoned training with his guru. He's really powerful, so Sly decides that trick to Australia, so that Murray can end his training with the guru and have him join the team. Before that, there was a mining facility where Murray and the guru used to say. We've captured the guru, so you bring him back his steak and his moonstone. Okay, so far so good. There! That thing is why this chapter is so flawed. So this mask is the Mask of Dark Earth. It is the main antagonist of this chapter. But the thing is, the mask doesn't have a personality. It's supposed to be able to control people by landing on their faces, but you never get a backstory for this thing. We learn why it's attacking, but why it exists?
The world may never know.
I do think it's pretty lame how we're just chasing an object with no personality or backstory. It's sad because anything that doesn't have to do with a mask is pretty cool. There was no joke a mission where the trio has to outdrink these random guards. Now getting to that, I guess I have to talk about how the main trio play in this game. They all play like how they did in Sly 2 but more fun. Sly now has the charge move, and by pressing one of the face buttons you can do a spin move or push enemies away or even jump. So now maybe you won't even need to run away from encounters. Bentley now being crippled doesn't walk, but that surprisingly makes him way more fun to play as. He can get around faster and even do a triple jump. Man, who would have thought to make Bentley more fun, you just have to bash his legs in. Murray getting training from a guru can now go into his ball throwing, which can now help him get up to places easier, or into enemies. They give Bentley and Murray tools to traverse the maps easier, which I appreciate because some chapters in Sly 2 definitely felt like they weren't meant to be traversable with Bentley and Murray. Coming off of Rumble Down Under, this is a pretty good chapter. Bentley finds out that the gang will need an RC specialist. After going on some Discord servers, Bentley finds someone he can keep up with him intellectually. He denied to offer to join the Cooper gang because she only looks for the best. And the best is her boss, Black Baron. Black Baron is a dogfighting champ who has set up an international competition called Aces. But Penelope sends a counteroffer. For her to join, they have to defeat the Black Baron. So Sly steals a license from another pilot, and Bentley and Murray start working on a plane. And I guess Guru is meditating or something. So on to Halloween they go. I'm not so sure why, but it's kind of hard to write my opinions for this chapter because there's a lot great about this chapter. First off, Dimitri is back, and any chapter that has Dimitri is made better.
And why should I talk to a 2-bit Rudy Boot crackerbox like you? Question mark in bold. Why?
The chapter also cemented the fact that Bentley is one of the funniest characters in existence.
Your mother was a broken down tub of junk with more gentleman callers than the operator.
And also, the flying section is actually pretty fun. It's very simple, it doesn't take that long. The only part I don't like about it is that you have to do it all over again if you die. And yeah, like the other two maps, the map is pretty solid, as it's easy to tell where you're supposed to go in the map. But when it comes down to it, I just don't think this chapter is as fun as chapter 1. At the end of the chapter, Sly and gang find out that Penelope is the Black Baron. She only used the identity because of the age requirements, but she was pressured into keeping the persona. Also forgot to mention that when Penelope was talking to Bentley, they sent pictures of Jeffrey, but these are photos of them in real life. So not only did Bentley get crippled, he got catfished too. No joke, but chapters were a figure in the trilogy. Yes, it surpassed chapter 1 of Sly 2 and 3. So Bentley realizes that we're gonna need a demolition expert to get to the Cooper hole. And that demolition expert is no other than the Panda King, who, if you don't remember, he's one of the 5 who killed Sly's parents, right in front of him. This sets up a pretty interesting conflict considering we've never had to team up with someone who has been an antagonist. I mean, besides Dimitri, but Dimitri is more so presented as comic relief. Plus, Sly doesn't have nearly the attachment to him as he does the Panda King. But I actually really like seeing him again, considering the Panda King was easily the best antagonist in Sly 1. Obviously, Sly isn't so keen on teaming up with one of the people who made him an orphan. But knowing there's no other way to get out of this, he begrudgingly agrees. Once they can get to China, the Panda King is in a deep trance. But luckily, the Guru can make it so that Sly can be in his consciousness or something like that. Sly then finds out what got him in this trance. The Panda King explains why his daughter got kidnapped by probably one of my favorite antagonists in the series, General Sal. This guy is such a great antagonist because he's such an unapologetic jerk. The only reason why he wants to marry the Panda King's daughter, Jane King, is solely because of bloodlines. In fact, the dude doesn't even respect women at all.
But she doesn't want to marry you.
She's a woman. She doesn't know up from down. Once I convinced her father to take up meditation, she was ripe for the picking.
I've faced a lot of bad men in my time, but you, sir, are the worst.
And worst of all, Bentley saw him kick a puppy. Twice. But we can't talk about the shot without talking about the development of the Panda King. But he learns humility from Sly. You even have his yin yang type moment with his criminal side and his self-consciousness. The chapter even brings Murray's whole character around. In the first game, we covered him because he couldn't defend himself. And overall, he was just a burden, but now he's just as valuable as anyone else. The map is also great as usual, with landmarks that are easy to see, versus some fun missions that involve Bentley's grapple cam. And overall, both bosses are pretty great, and the ending is just the cherry on top, as Carmelita, a woman, is the one who beat him instead of Sly. Overall, this chapter is just amazing and has become my favorite in the series. So you might have noticed that my footage is stuff like Earth Calls by Penelope or controlling enemies as Guru. It's because we are playable in this game, but just not usable outside of missions. The Guru basically mind controls people, which is usually used to smash into stuff. Penelope has an Earthsea copter, which I prefer over Bentley's in Sly 2. She also has an Earthsea core, which I think is really fun to use. And the Panda King can use his flaming chop and fireworks. This game tries to be bigger and better than Sly 2, and for a lot of people, bigger doesn't mean better. For me, I like Sly 3's new modes and think they're fun for what they are. Especially Penelope's RC car. I at least found them better than the tank from Sly 2 or collecting chickens in Sly 1. This game still looks great, like Sly 2 and Sly 1. But since it was the last game on the PS3 collection, I'll say this right now, Sly 3 felt like it got the worst of the port jobs. So what I think is the problem is that when converting these games from 4x3 to 16x9, all they really did is just zoom out for lack of a better term. What if this loses all these 4x3 assets that are supposed to be full screen doesn't? You can actively see where the screen cuts off, which I don't remember happening that much in Sly 2. It's really distracting when you pause and you can see where the screen ends. And the Panda King's consciousness, you can see the cursor of the screen where it doesn't reach. This music is something I never brought up in Sly 1 and Sly 2, because I had forgot about it. So I guess I might as well bring it up here. I think the soundtracks are good, but you'll never see me listening to them outside of the game. While on that topic, I forgot to mention in other games the voice acting is pretty good. Kevin Miller as Sly, Matt Olson as Bentley, and Chris Murphy as Murray, who all had pretty okay to good performances in Sly 1, but by Sly 3 they had perfected their roles. Carmelita has had 3 different voice actors across the series, Roxana Ortega in Sly 1, Alicia Glidewell in Sly 2, and my personal favorite, Ruth Olivier in Sly 3. Now that we're done with that, let's move on to decided him to repay the favor after helping them in Chapter 3. Dimitri's granddad was a scuba diver, but one day his gear got stolen, which led his family to make art. The person who stole it is named Black Spot Pete. Of all of his information and a possible frogman, the gang decides to steal what was stolen. The chapter is also pretty neat as we travel through a pirate-infested island, and even go sailing. As to my opinion on sailing the ship, I think controlling it is pretty okay. It's not something I prefer over a regular gameplay loop, but hey, I don't hate it. The game even tells you where you need to go if you don't want to engage with it. The gang discovers that Black Spot Pete buried the treasure on an island, so the gang gets on a pirate ship and goes to find the treasure. And once we do, a captain by the name of Lefree kidnaps Penelope, so we have to get her back by making Lefree walk the plank. Afterwards, Bentley finally gets the girl, and we all decide to finally go for a big heist. Best boy Dimitri also joins the squad, who's actually pretty fun. It enjoys like a first-person adventure game where you have objectives to find underwater. And now we're all caught up to the present. Sly's getting crushed, and right when he thought he'd meet his end, Carmelia appears and saves him. The gang now tries to get Sly's cane back, which for a player pretty much means playing all of the gameplay styles. We even get the best dialogue in the history of dialogue.
Come clean, my lovely, and play your cards straight. These are dangerous waters, and I'm a big, strong, macho man.
Okay, first, get over yourself. Second, I mean it, get over yourself. And third, jump into that water and find Sly's cane. It's the key to the Cooper Vault. You can't lose it.
Salty language from such sweet lips. I die, baby. I die for the love.
After a while, we eventually get back and unlock the Cooper Vault. Now we get to see for ourselves what each Cooper has accomplished. By the time he's gotten here, it's just an empty cave. Only things here is death traps that only a Cooper can pass and pictures of previous Coopers. Even when the Coopers have stolen the Statue of Liberty, it doesn't really matter considering all they do is just throwing it in here. This boss fight isn't great, but I found it way better than Clockwork in Sly 1 or Clock Love from Sly 2. He'll use laser beams, fireballs, and even electricity to try to take Sly out. The fight ends up making the vault crumble as Sly makes things right with Carmelia, while thinking amnesia to start over. While looking at the vault crumble, they just decide to move on. None of them will ever forget about the adventures with each other, especially the original trio, but realistically, they can't do this forever, so they just decide to split up. Bentley and Penelope work on the Cooper Vault, Murray pursues a career in driving, the Guru takes students in New York, the Panda King returns home to his daughter, and Dimitri decides to become a dance teacher. And in all honesty, the reason why I think it took me so long to write this review is, well, 1, laziness, and 2, how nuanced the game's story is. Sure, I guess if you try to nitpick, you can poke 100 holes in it, but I really did enjoy it from beginning to end. It's been great experiencing these 3 games as they all have great writing, fun gameplay, and pretty good voice acting, and especially unforgettable characters. But the reason why Sucker Punch stopped making these games isn't because we got tired of it or anything. If anything, they loved making these Sly games. It's because, like the game's message says, we all have to move on at some point. It's because, like the game's message says, we all have to move on from stuff at some point. But I guess we should be glad that Sly 3 on Unlung Thieves was a worthy end to a worthy trilogy.
sneaky devil.